Page 5 now. The murder of border agent Rogelio Martinez. It happened nearly 2 weeks ago in Texas in what's called the Big Bend sector. It appears that Agent Martinez and his partner were victims of an ambush, possibly by illegal alien drug traffickers. However, investigators are still at work right now piecing together this terrible crime. Joining me now on the Daily Ledger, Page 5 beat Stephanie Marie. And Steph, a little bit pensive on this one because ambush, of course, would be a crime. But then there are some people, I don't know how legitimate it is, but some people are talking about what amounts to an accident.
Yeah, the Martinez family still has no idea how he died. And we are hearing dueling accounts from officials about what happened on November 18th. One, that this was an attack or ambush, and the other, that his injuries may have been consistent with a fall. Now, the FBI has taken over the case and is staying tight-lipped, but says it is investigating a potential assault on a federal officer.
When you're looking at these types of situations, the best thing to do is talk to people who are actually on the scene and his co-workers and fellow Border Patrol agents. And most all fellow Border Patrol agents are saying that he was beaten to death with rocks, and some refer to it as bludgeoned to death. And the injuries seem to be consistent more with an assault than with just falling from about an 8-foot fall is what they're trying to say he fell from. The second agent suffered significant head injuries as well. He has now been released from the hospital. We still don't know his name, and he does not remember anything that happened that night, which, I mean, I think that if you were beaten up or you just fell, you would remember if there were other agents. But we do know that both agents were referring to trip sensors, and just with other scenes and other things that have happened in the past, they respond to those. They know approximately how many assailants are, tripping those sensors. So they would have known that there was a group of people there. What you're looking at in that scenario is rank and file, 100%. They want the world to know. They want everybody to know what they're going through. However, it's the bureaucracy that directs what they do that often challenges and controls the narrative here, I guess, if you will. And when you see people saying, if I'm going to go talk to somebody and I'm going to let a reporter know this, and they have a potential, the outcome for them would be losing their job, they're quieted on this. Now, I don't necessarily think that, the Border Patrol agent, they're not the ones trying to cover it up whatsoever. They want this story out. However, when this gets immediately handed over to the FBI, they're the ones that come in and clamp down, and then there's no more information out to reporters.
Agent Martinez was only 36 years old, and he leaves behind a fiance, a son, and 2 brothers.
And something's not right here. Now, we should say, by the way, we need to let the FBI and all the investigators do their jobs and leave them alone, and we're not going to speculate here. But the president came out with an initial statement. I want to talk about that in just a second. But first, all you have to do is look at the injuries. And I think a medical professional would be able to tell immediately the difference between injuries from a fall, especially an 8-foot fall, which is, a relatively deep fall, but it's not catastrophic necessarily, and injuries sustained from being pelted with rocks, which was one of the scenarios we've been told about.
Yeah, it's rather confusing because one would think that it would be pretty obvious, a fall versus rock injuries. And it is pretty common for border agents to be attacked with rocks by illegal crossers. We've seen this in the past, and this has been somewhat of a debate and a debacle with the Border Patrol agents because they have shot and killed illegal crossers that have thrown rocks at them. Of course, leftists have been up in arms over these incidents, saying that border agents shouldn't have the right to shoot people that are attacking them with rocks. Now, in 2014, DHS released a memo to the border agents saying that unless they actually believed that they were in imminent danger of death, they had no right to shoot at illegal crossers attacking them.
Right, but there was no firing of their weapons, at least as far as we know in this case. We do have to remember that rocks are a deadly weapon, and these agents have a right to defend themselves. But back to what the president said in one of his tweets, he said something which I think is crucial. He says, we're going to go after these perpetrators, which leads you to believe that this was an attack.
Well, and also the governor of Texas called this an attack, and also the Border Patrol Union called this an attack. But then we heard from the sheriff today that he was one of the ones who responded to the scene, and he thinks that this was some sort of accident, saying that maybe a tractor trailer sideswiped the pair, and that's what happened. But wouldn't we know? And where is the truck? So there's so many things that we're hearing, but we definitely need to find answers to them.
Also doesn't make a lot of sense that both agents would fall down simultaneously in a drainage. That doesn't quite make sense either. You know, the bottom line is this, is that no matter how this agent died and the other agent was injured, just underscores how dangerous their mission is each and every day down along the border. I've said it here many times. It's a war zone down there, and in my opinion, we need to treat it as such. Steph, thanks.